Scripture, Holy Wisdom, embedded in images and story that we can easily take to be just that, somebody else's story. Today I suggest we go really deep, if that's okay with you. On this Lenten season, today I suggest that we will discover that this is a teaching, a methodology for each one of us, beautifully expressed in these metaphors, paradigms, images of this little story. Something universal, something personal, something intimate for everybody here. You'll notice that the Christ is led by the Spirit. The goodness of God that takes him into that which is called wilderness. This is the moment now to shut off the surface mind, the rational mind, the visual mind. We are not in a place. We have entered a state of being, an emotional state, a state that you know very well. You know, you remember ever having been lonely, abandoned, hopeless, lost. All of us know that. It's the human condition. This is a teaching about the Holy One entering our personal, all too human suffering. There in those places that we don't talk about. Be with us, not merely as companionship, as awareness of our need, but to show us the way out. That's salvation. We don't have to live in the misery we've all known, the misery that we see all around us. And it's for that purpose that this teaching is present to humanity and to you today in particular. It is packed with symbolism. Just take those 40 days. You've heard that 40 days in other places. Noah, 40 days. Elijah on the mountain before the still small voice. Moses on Sinai, people wandering the desert 40 years. 40 is a mystical code known to those mystical Hebrew people. The trouble is, we've forgotten all of that. So we take it literally and it becomes meaningless. 40 means time of preparation. Your time of preparation, of gestation, of development. All of us have to walk through empty places. All of us have to taste that sense of being without help, without even God's help. We have a way out. Behold that the Christ, the prototype of who we are called to be, is famished. Understand that this temptation is not your average temptation. It is the ultimate elemental temptation of living life as though God did not exist. Are we not all constantly caught up in that temptation of forgetting to put God in the equation of our troubles, of our attitudes, of our issues? That's the ultimate temptation. That's what this is about. Will we live God-centered lives, or will we go the other way, fall for the illusions of life? We're on our own, a material, secular world where there is nothing higher, like so many live, like we so often are tempted to live. And so we have this metaphor of being told to turn stones into bread. That image, that poetry is to tell us that we are tempted to create our own meaning out of life, to be able to eat life, to survive without God's way. And don't we know what that looks like? Haven't we all been there? And if we haven't, we sure know what it's like us. Tempted to live without God's ways, moving us path of life, taking us into a death internally before our physical death. It is for every one of us. It is the constant temptation of life. How many times a day do we have a worry, a fear, an anger, a doubt, and there is no God in the midst of our situation. So he is brought into our condition, wilderness, to be tempted with this godless life by the devil. Diabolos is the word. It means slanderer, that which slanders all which is spiritual. So I'm going to ask you here today not to objectify that into an outer metaphysical image, some objective evil in a universe broken apart, duality, instead of the oneness of God. There is within us that spirit seeking to come alive as a child of God, awakened and free. And there is within us that which hates all change, all development, all self-transcendence. So the tempter is within, as is the Christ consciousness. How's that for imagery turned into psychology, turned into spiritual teaching? It is timeless, it is universal. We know that we are fragmented, and that what is at stake is either unity with God or separation, lost. This little teaching, this mighty gift to put us on the right path. We become human the more we resemble the image of God, Christ within. And we become less human the more we go the other way. So there could be nothing more up close and personal, nothing more intense and intimate than this struggle. Make life your own meaning, have it your own way, or unite your will to God. Now we're told that to be tempted is not a bad thing. To have thoughts come through your head from whatever source that are negative, that are taking you down instead of up, is not the problem. We're all going to have those thoughts within us. It's around us. The question is, are we going to succumb? In that moment of temptation, when we choose which way we're going to go, our destiny changes. I'm telling you that internal choice changes your life, internally and externally. Don't you know so many folks who've fallen off the track, who've allowed themselves to go with the dark, who've lost connection with their true humanity, have been destroyed, even if they live another 40 years in human tragedy. Then there are those who have cultivated and fought for that image within, that resemblance to God, that inheritance we have, to become people of light, people of peace, people of goodness. But it is never automatic. That is why we are free beings. We are allowed to go either way. Put before you life and death. Choose life. In these metaphors, we are shown the options. And then, just like a vision quest, suddenly he is taken to the top of the pinnacle of the temple in the holy city. Don't you see these images are more than stories? They are spiritual, masterful examples of the spiritual struggle. And it says in Psalms, you'll be carried up by angels. And imagine if the Christ did such a feat, what power he would have had in the world. If he could have done works of amazing wonder that kings from everywhere came to see. He chose the way of humility, simplicity, not the way of self-glory, just as we are called to live. Not rejecting the world, but certainly not falling for all of its illusions. Belong to emptiness and dust. We have powerful work to do within in order to Leave the wilderness and make the connection. Be strong enough to say, not my will, but thy will. To accept that which is often unacceptable. To make peace. To forgive. Remember that this teaching is for us and about us. That the Christ is incarnated in all reality to give us the steps, the way out of hopelessness and emptiness and misery. No matter what life throws your way.